goes.
There we are.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Heartland Mamas. I'm Murray
And
Briel.
I'm Heidi Henry, coming to you from our separate studios at the edge of the Great Red Divide. And Murray, we say edge of the Great Red Divide because we live in a blue area at the edge of a Great Red Divide that goes clear to California. So that's why we call it that.
So our area, right, and then we are pockets of blue in areas of red, and there's a lot more of us than we think there are.
Yep. So we try to bring everybody together and have the same conversation. Include everybody in the
So,
conversation.
for those of us who know us regularly, like, subscribe, share Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.
MAMAS.com.
We are also with Demcast USA, and you can find us any place you get your favorite podcasts or YouTube.
Absolutely.
So, Heidi, I got to tell you, man, I'm a little bit irritated. I am COVIDiots.
Yeah, COVIDiots are going to kill us all.
COVIDiots and their legislators. Let's put it that way. So today we just really need to vent on the stupidity of every sort of built on everything we've done before.
Well, Murray, the problem with an idiot is when you motivate them, then you have a motivated idiot. And what do you do with that? So the thing is that we have to understand that this outrage is not organic. It is completely 100% manufactured. And it's manufactured by the billionaires that run the Republican Party. You know, every single one of these outrageous attacks on state capitals, gatherings at state capitals, has been funded, perpetrated, organized, and put out there by billionaires that have everything to gain by reopening the country. The hedge fund billionaires are starving for money. The stock market is how they live and breathe. Only 38% of the United States, of the people who live here, have even a dime in the stock market. Most of us don't. And of that 38%, most of it goes to the very top 1% of the 10%, top 10%. So the rest of us that have like a 401k that's in the stock market, we're just along for the ride. But most people, especially those in the gig economy, have zero Zippo in the stock
And
market.
Heidi, you and I have talked about this many times.
Mm-hmm.
People think that the economy is very different from the stock
From
market.
Wall
We
Street
need
to
to make
Main
sure that
Street, not the same.
we need to understand those big differences. Like we talked about, mercenary capitalism is going to kill our nation. So we need to start off with not just these crazy protesters who are funded by a small right wing family that is also closely tied to the NRA. And they are funding these groups. In fact, there's one in Will County going on Saturday, I guess, a Freedom March or something. And here's the thing. The COVIDiocy and the leaders are at every level of government.
Well,
we have a gentleman who's a Will County board member,
uh-huh.
and he came in on the Tea Party train. And he is, he's the one organizing.
Yes.
He's a county board member. He's endangering people's lives.
Yes.
And now there's groups that are, and I firmly believe that this group is also a scam because they have a GoFundMe set up. So people can submit or can send in $9.99. And that will help them buy PPE for these protests, 4 protests that are planned over the next month.
Did anybody report this to GoFundMe? Because they don't play that.
Right. I just saw this today, and I'm like,
oh, somebody needs to report that to GoFundMe because they don't like participating in things like that. GoFundMe has taken the high road more times than not, trying to keep the trash away. So I'm hoping anybody who's listening, whatever organization this is, report it to GoFundMe because they're going to pull it.
Oh, so, yeah. Oh, yeah. But this is the type of thing that we're looking at. Whether it's a county board member, mm-hmm. Let's go lower than that. Let's talk about the mayors, right?
Oh,
okay. So, real quick, we'll recap. The White House the experts associated with the White House came up with these guys. Right? You were trying so hard not to laugh. It's okay. I tried
They're
to use
only
a nice word
experts
there.
until he puts his thumb down on them. I don't know what, you know, I've told you that our research in the past has shown us that Trump gets like the dirt on people and then he controls them like Lindsey Graham. You know, he controls them like a puppet master. And that's how Donald Trump has run his
I
entire life. That's how he runs his businesses. That's how he does everything is by
yeah,
digging up the dirt and then controlling. So
I can't even fathom though, like that is so far out of my realm of thought at this moment because I am just trapped at the idiocy of legislators. So if we talk about mayors across the country are arguing with their governors right now.
mm-hmm.
They don't want to open the state. Some of them governors are opening the state and they want to remain shut. Sort of the same thing we see happening from a state level to a federal level. And while we both live in rural, so we understand that there are different dynamics. What's more important necessarily than the cases is the community's ability to take care of those that would get sick, their hospital capacity, their surge capacity. So if there are plenty of beds available and the numbers are down, and then even the White House, as crazy as they are, said you had to have decreasing numbers
Yes.
for 14 days in a row
Right.
before you could begin this phase one.
Right.
Well, the states that we're talking about do not have decreasing numbers.
No.
And some of those states are like, "Oh no, we're not open." And we look at Las Vegas. Look at Carolyn Goodman,
Oh my God. Carolyn Goodman.
the mayor of Las Vegas.
Let me tell you something about Carolyn Goodman. Carolyn Goodman was a Democrat until Barack Obama was inaugurated. And then all of a sudden, her little bigot self could not handle a half black man being president and became an independent. That has a lot of funding that comes in from these right wing conservative groups. She can't call herself a Republican and get elected in that city.
Town.
Well, this is her last. She can't run for re-election based on their laws, so it doesn't matter what she does right now. But here's what I'm telling you, Marie. She reopens Las Vegas and people get sick. They're going to sue the Las Vegas Tourism Board. They're going to sue those casinos because people are going to get sick and people are going to die because Las Vegas is a hot spot right now.
Well, and her rationale was, we're going to open casinos. They will have extra cleaning, limited hours, and she said that employees would be tested, and if an outbreak occurred, then that casino would be shut down.
She also said this is like every other virus we've ever dealt with, and you know that's a lie.
And Katie Turner was like, no, it's not.
It's not.
No, that's a fact. And she said, well, I guess we'll see. No,
I guess we'll see.
It's a fact.
Yeah.
There is science. There are facts. Come on. And what boggles my mind is as we look at this, she's saying if a casino is found to have instances of the coronavirus and an outbreak, they will be shut down.
Maria, have you ever been to Las Vegas?
Oh, God, yeah.
People don't stay in the same casino. They go from casino to casino to casino to casino to show to downtown all the time. Nobody stays in one place. So how are you going to pin it on just one casino? You're going to pin it on the one that's not...
they're assuming that there would be an employee there and several employees. But even sans the untraceability, forget it. Even if they restricted and said you could only go to one casino or whatever rules they're going to try to put in place, the testing responsibility is not going to fall on the city. The city is going to push that responsibility onto the casino because they're not going to pay for all of their employees and all to get rapid tested all the time. That's going to fall on the casinos.
So the casinos have medical professionals administering these tests?
Well, let's put it this way. It reminds me of what our awesome, amazing Governor Pritzker always says,
Okay.
and that is that, and Dr. Ezike, is that when the press questions and challenges their numbers, they say, we're giving you everything we have. We do a report, no problem, but we're only as good as what gets put into our system. So if these individual now could maybe the city will be responsible for the testing and the casinos will have to pay for it. But even so, if I'm a mayor and I want people to come to my city, I want them to feel it's safe. I want them to, because people are going to be hesitant. I want to attract business again. I want to attract conventions by being a safe. Right. We all know this is not a realistic thing. She's freaking
She
crazy.
is nuts.
But she is. So this is where her ideology is. So if she's willing to do this at this stage, why would she be willing to announce cases in casinos and say cases are in her town? She wouldn't.
She's in the same boat in Las Vegas that we are here in Illinois, with our revenues being so far down. Our state sales tax helps fund our general revenue fund, and we don't have any money coming in, but we have a lot going out right now. And I'm sure Las Vegas is in the same crunch. You know, you have to have money to come in.
Everybody is.
Yeah, everybody is. So
Every city is.
and then Bill Barr comes out and he says today, I'm in favor of the states being able to declare bankruptcy so they can reopen. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me? The thing that he's saying is that it's okay to kill off people so that the economy can roll again. We are in a health crisis, which is causing an economic crisis because we have a crisis at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C. with a guy that can't get his head out of his ass.
A worse, believe it or not, we have a worse crisis than 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Because if it was one narcissistic, egomaniacal, psychotic jackass, it would be handled. But it's not. It's mercenary capitalism.
It is.
It's how our society praises business.
Praises
how our
wealth.
society wants government run its business. Wealth. We give money and handouts and corporate
we give
welfare.
Honor and respect to wealth. We give honor and respect
Absolutely.
to wealth. And we don't give accountability and respect and honor to those that are keeping the economy going right now by going to work every damn day. We don't
You're
care.
Absolutely right.
And the thing that these mercenary capitalists are doing, and we're talking about the top 10%, and especially the top 1%, the DeVosses, the Mercers, the Koch brothers. Well, there's only one left. We're talking about these hedge fund billionaires that don't care about you, because if you, the little cog in the wheel, can go back to work, and maybe if 1,500 cogs go back into work and get the machinery running again, and half of you get sick and 30% of you die, they don't care, because they're in their little insulated cave somewhere where they don't have to leave and they don't have to get exposed to anything. So they don't care.
And you had mentioned something when your dad was in the nursing home and talked about one of the caregivers in the home, in the hospice, was talking about how she was terrified for the facility if the virus got in there.
And it has gone into that facility.
And in just knowing that, she said, what a drain on our resources, what a drain on our finances. If this is horrible to say, she said something like this, but that I hope people don't realize that that's a way to take people out. You know, that we would sacrifice.
That's exactly what she said. She said that, you know, we know, and my dad was at a fairly more expensive place to be at. He wasn't in a Medicaid place. He was at a nicer place. We were able to finance it with his assets up front. And even at the $10K a month, which is not outrageous. I think it's outrageous. You could go to Disney World and do the whole thing on $10K a month. But she said, you know, these people that are in, and she pointed to one wing, she said, that's our Medicaid section. And she said, we don't treat the patients any differently. She said, but if you kill them off, who's going to care? The government doesn't care because they're just a burden on the resources. And, her being very frank about how expensive it is to care for the elderly, for the incapacitated. They had younger people younger than myself, younger than yourself, that had been in horrific accidents that would never be able to get out and take care of themselves again. And
traumatic brain injury.
Right. And that is what she was saying. She said, so if those people are gone, that's less money out of Medicare, that's less money out of Medicaid, that's less money out of Social Security. And we're seeing...
And if this is a good person thinking these thoughts.
Yes, a very good
person.
If
this is a good person
who's terrified right now.
Is concerned about that,
yes,
and concerned that it would be financially beneficial for a lot of people if this were allowed to carry on,
Marie,
like some of these mayors are thinking. But here is someone who's good. That those assholes who are the ones that are heading, that the ones that are the mayors and the governors and the kiss-ass sycophants that surround 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, that they have all thought and plotted this course.
Well, and you and I have talked on previous episodes about Jared Kushner, and the president's son-in-law owns companies that sell these bizarre emergency medical plans, this bizarre insurance that really doesn't cover anything unless you're dying of a specific illness, these junk plans. So, we have a problem right now with the top 1% of the 10% manipulating people, manipulating their thoughts, co-opting people through the Second Amendment to go out there and try to... I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen, Maria has disappeared and I don't know where she's gone. It sounds like you're hammering something and I'm like, what is she doing?
I'm so sorry. My computer's about to die because I thought it got plugged in, but it wasn't. It was my husband. Because, fun.
Well, and here's the thing with this is that these same 1%ers are the people who manufactured the outrage over health care under the ACA. They manufactured it so that people would become outraged at having health care. Can you imagine right now we're in a pandemic and we're still dealing with the outrage from the ACA, the outrage that gave everybody health care. And these are the same sycophants, these same mercenary capitalists that don't give a crap about you and your health. They didn't care enough, so they wanted to remove ACA, and it's still moving through the court system. And now they don't care enough about anybody but themselves and their family and their accumulated wealth that they're willing to kill you and me and anybody else to get the economy going again. And we heard this language just in the last few weeks about from the as seen on TV doctors. Well, we've seen viruses before and more people die in swimming pools than have died from this and all that stupid bullshit from Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil. And who's the stupid guy that does the addiction doctor that I don't watch the doctors on TV. I just had read about that. But they're willing to sacrifice you and your family to get more money in their pockets. Mercenary capitalism. So
everyone is. And don't even and when we talk about mercenary capitalism, I think in terms of the big businesses. I think in terms of the large industries, those that sacrifice workers for profits, right? And those are the folks that want government run like a business, but they're diametrically opposed. One is a nonprofit, one is a for-profit, right? And that feeds into the ideology that wealth is the only thing that matters, and it beats it in, and it's just a horrible...
Marie, they've trained us by spoon-feeding us the Kardashians for, 10 years? I mean, seriously.
What?
Yeah. Oh, look up to them because they've made money off of a porno. That's how the whole family got launched into stardom. And now they've created billionaires within their family. We have been trained and conditioned through reality TV to look up to wealth, to respect it, to give it more honor and glory than we give to the people who are cleaning our toilets, who are picking up my garbage.
I would say that that's always been the case. That we go back in history. It's always been a case of the have and have-nots. And you're right, though, that I think that reality TV helped
Pave the way. Absolutely.
accentuate
It
that.
gave us the president we have now.
Yeah, well, yeah, you got that. But I'm talking. Yeah,
I couldn't
you got
stand
me
his
there,
show, so I mean, I never watched
I
it.
never watched it.
I think
Right?
I think I
Like,
watched one episode, and I thought, this is horrible. You know what? That was before you and I had a podcast, well before. And I kept thinking about mercenary capitalists. I mean, the things that they were doing to make them earn money, and that was their only value, is how much they could produce. And that's what we are living, ladies and gentlemen. Our only value is how much we can produce. Otherwise, we're fired
and
or
this
dead.
mayor. Okay, so this mayor, this governor, these Dr. Bricks, I mean,
I don't know what the hell's wrong with her.
oh, she's been she took the Kool-Aid. I knew from the beginning she was a junkie.
The first time I saw her out there in one of her Hermes scarves, I thought,
her scarves? Yeah, the scarves.
Well, not just a scarf, an Hermes. So you're talking about a $3,000 scarf as an accoutrement, and we
don't even know what that word means.
Really? Okay, so I
don't wear scarves.
Well, it's a very, very high-end scarf. One of her scarves would cost you $3,000 to $5,000. So
yeah,
and she never wears the
totally
same one.
have that. In
so she is
in the
she thinks
like slot of my truck.
She thinks like a 1%er. See, they don't
they all?
Well,
but I mean but Heidi, I know that greed and power are the two biggest driving factors. That's why we have mercenary capitalism.
Right.
That's why we have the government that we have right now.
Right.
I understand all of that. But what purpose does it serve for, the Las Vegas mayor, Mayor Goodman? Because she can't serve another term. It's not for her reelection. Maybe she has a financial stake in the casinos.
Oh, I'm sure she does. But her husband was a financier. He was the previous mayor, so I'm sure she's got some fingers in a lot of little pies and a few big ones, and
they're willing to sacrifice human lives.
Absolutely, at the god of money.
Don't get it.
And
what am I missing? What am I missing here?
Well, you're missing the fact that they don't have any empathy. No empathy. They don't care. They cannot put themselves in your shoes because they will never walk your walk. They will never walk the walk of the maid that's cleaning the hotel room after somebody with COVID, on not showing symptoms, but somebody is positive for COVID, not showing symptoms, so they were in the casino, in the hotel room. They don't have any empathy for the maid that's in there cleaning that room. And a lot of those people, Marie, have black and brown skin. They're not lily white like you and I. So a lot of the 1%ers don't feel, including the mayor, because she left the Democratic Party because we had a half black president. She doesn't care that the person, the Hispanic woman cleaning the room gets sick, could die, doesn't have health insurance. She doesn't give a damn. Are you kidding me? It's just another cog in the wheel that she can do without. Knock out that cog, replace it. We have to talk about what's going on in the meat packing plants right now.
That is exactly where I was thinking about it. I was thinking about, as we're talking about housekeepers and hospitality workers, one of the largest areas for immigrants is in meat processing, in processing plants. And they're migrant workers, so they're here legally, but they are immigrants.
Most of them are
and they're often put and they're often live in extremely cramped, very poor quarters, because they're saving whatever money they can in order to send it home, to be able to bring family over, whatever they're.
Yeah.
So they're used to living in that type of an area, and that is as bad as a prison. That is as bad as a nursing home. Any contained area.
Yeah.
We ran into this with the concern worldwide with refugee camps, because they would be breeding grounds for COVID.
And they are here in the United States. Breeding grounds.
And that same thing, that's what the packing plants, that can be a contributing factor. But I also think the contributing factor is not caring for employees or taking the warnings as seriously.
Because our current president has gutted OSHA and gutted the USDA with Sonny Perdue's blessing. So you have nobody watching over the animal welfare, inspecting the food, or taking care of the workers through OSHA. So you have set up a perfect storm for these plants to close. And I just...
Isn't that what Steve Bannon said in the 2017 CPAC convention after Donald Trump had only been elected for a month or only been in office for a month? And he said his goal, as well as everyone around the president, was to dismantle the federal government. And that is what they have done at every opportunity. Why? Because we like capitalism.
Right. Well, and here's the problem with what's going on in the packing plants, Murray. We're going to disrupt the food chain, and you're going to have hungry people. You might not want to...
That's terrifying.
Yes. You might not want to...
Supplies are already reduced compared to what they were, only because of supply chains and so many other reasons. But then you throw on top of it outbreaks in food packing plants.
We don't know that this packed meat can contain the COVID virus in it. We don't know if it can spread COVID-19. We have no idea.
We don't know. They don't think so yet.
They don't think so, but remember,
they have no proof.
This came out of a wet market to begin with. So how can we say there's no proof?
No, it didn't.
Well,
it didn't come out of a wet market.
Yes, it did.
No, it didn't.
Come on, Maureen.
The proof is overwhelming. Not the reason why. It could be something very simple as having a cross-contamination or an accidental leak, but it has every expert.
The DNA,
not every. I would say
most of the DNA in COVID-19 is bat DNA.
Well, yeah, because the COVID is found in all different bats, all different strains of COVID. This, though, however, the difference is not that it's COVID, it's why it has the RNA factor like HIV, and it operates very differently from viruses such as SARS, such as the flu. And because of that,
I think when we're
not going to get lower.
We're getting into conspiracy theory, and you know me, and I don't care much for conspiracy theories because I think,
oh, come on, Joe Biden, bullshit.
Listen.
No. You come up with some of the craziest shit. Don't even talk to me about conspiracy theory.
I came up with one about Joe Biden. One.
You
and I was
come up
wrong.
with wacky ones all the time.
Like what?
I don't know. Joe Biden just sticks in my mind.
That was the only one. That's why it sticks in your mind. And I was wrong because I thought...
No, there have been more, lady.
No.
I'll think about it.
Okay, you think about it and you let me know because...
I'll think about it. I will.
But
I'll tell you.
My whole thing on this is that if we dilute the science with conspiracy theory, we may never get to the bottom. It will take longer to get to the bottom of it. And that's always my concern is anytime you dilute the science, and we're getting enough federal dilution of science, misappropriation of science, refusal of science as is. And the one thing that this COVID-19 is screaming for is science and data, science and hard data.
100% agreed. 100% agreed, girl.
So we don't have that science and data available to us to make comprehensive and good decisions on when it's time to reopen. We know that you have to be 14 days past your peak of decreasing numbers.
As a state, not as a state.
As a state.
Okay? As a state, you have to be 14 days dropping, not one town in a state.
But
now we understand. But
here's the thing, Marie. We know that we live in Illinois. We know that the northern part of the state is not the same as the southern part of the state. And we're getting hot spots downstate because Iowa refuses to do a damn thing to control this. And Missouri's right behind them.
I wouldn't. I think that is a contributing factor. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that other states like downstate would be Missouri, Indiana. Although Indiana did jump into
Indiana did, and usually,
for Indiana.
Usually I pick on Indiana.
But look at Iowa, like you said, on the north side.
Around St. Louis. is a hot mess right now. Hot mess.
But I do also think that
And
the
Rockford's blowing up.
disease doesn't just spread. If you, it almost looks like an algae bloom
Yeah.
in the ocean, if you've ever seen
Yeah.
one. So, and not just all over, but how it starts is it looks like a slow moving wave,
Right.
and it's extremely an amazing, beautiful thing of nature. And when you look at the data and the cases and the infection rates, and where and now that we have more consistent testing, even though we don't have nearly enough, you literally watch this algae bloom explode out throughout the state.
Yeah.
I'm not even talking the blooms going from you just see it across the nation. It's just rolls.
Yeah.
Very statistically visual way.
Well, and I like to look at it. For some reason, my computer keeps putting us small and then large again. So the one thing I like to think of is you get an infected person and you drop it in a pool of water and the ripples just go out until it becomes this big algae bloom, right? So we have people that come in from other states, or we have people from the one part of the state that travel to the other part of the state, and they become that pebble that causes the ripples because they don't know they're infected, or they do know they're infected. Michigan is having a problem with people that are trying to avoid infection going to their second home or their summer home. And we have people.
We've did a show on this before.
Right.
How? All right. I'm furious. I have an acquaintance who I used to coach her son, and she's a good person, but she left Plainfield to go to Seneca to Lake Holiday to her summer
Sandwich.
home.
She's at Sandwich.
Sandwich. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sandwich. So exactly doing what we're talking
Yep.
about. These communities don't have the capacity.
Sandwich.
They don't have the resources. And you're bringing this infection. It's a disease of the affluent.
Sandwich Hospital has under 60 beds. And that's where she
and
went.
where people are coming here. Yeah, and all I know is that if it'll be, I hate to say this, but it will be a very interesting experiment. I think that I had expected to see greater numbers after his rally in South Carolina on the day before Super Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
Or what night was it? Or the South Carolina.
Yeah.
I had expected to see an increase in cases, and we didn't. And I think the reason that we didn't was because we weren't testing yet. We weren't at the point where states weren't even thinking about those cases.
Marie,
so
we have to remember though, because we've been to a MAGA rally. People follow him like people follow the Grateful Dead. So they're not from North Carolina. They come in and they go back out to different parts of the country where they're from. They have caravans that follow. I'm seriously, the only other thing I've ever seen that was like that is I used to date a guy way back. I've been married to Stan for 38 years, but way back in high school that used to follow the Grateful Dead, and they get in these caravans and follow them everywhere. It's the same exact thing with Donald Trump. So that's why you're not seeing the spike right there after that rally, because they all went back to wherever they came from. They're not. They're very few locals.
Even so, I would have expected to see a smaller spike. Just look at the data we're seeing coming out of Wisconsin.
Well,
one polling place was able to cause 19 infections.
So far that we know of.
So far it was 17 as of yesterday, and that's with most of those polling places had great social distancing.
Yes, they did.
Not everyone was wearing masks back then, but they had sanitizer. And if one person is able to do that, I just don't.
Marie, they just did a study on the virus being picked up by the heat and air conditioning systems and rebroadcast throughout the room, recirculated through the room.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's this really scary statistic. We're getting into the time of year where air conditioning is running all the time, and air conditioning was much more likely to spread it than heat. But again, it's like we're just getting this data now. We're just getting this information now, and it's coming up to us from the southern states and from the warmer climates. And so we're just learning about this. So we have to take that in mind, keep that in mind. Now, a week ago, about 10 days ago, they had one of these open the government rallies in Kentucky, right? They're having a spike in cases right now in Kentucky, a huge spike.
And remember, when people start to argue about how long it takes, it does take anywhere between it can take anywhere between 2 to 14 days to start to exhibit symptoms.
Yes.
The average amount is about 7 days. Feel ill enough to go to the doctor or start to notice their symptoms enough.
Right.
But 14 days is not uncommon. Hell, you can be asymptomatic for a month.
Right.
And then develop the disease.
Right.
It's not uncommon.
No, it's not uncommon. And it's also not uncommon for people to recover and be weeks, if not months, still being positive for COVID-19. They may no longer have symptoms, but they're still positive and they're still able to shed the virus. So a lot of people are going out thinking that they are fine, that they've outlived the virus, and they are not retested. But when the handful that are retested find out that they're still testing positive months after they've recovered, that's terrifying. Because we don't know. They're like, well, my blood plasma shows that I'm okay, so I'm going to donate my blood. I'm going to donate the plasma to help people get better. But we know that that's not
true. And remember,
true.
We are no closer to a cure. Mm-hmm. We are no closer to a treatment. We are no closer to a vaccine. We are no closer to even know if having
I told you
gives you any sort of immunity whatsoever.
I told you today, Marie, I learned that the fastest this world has ever produced a vaccine for anything was the mumps vaccine, and it took 4 years to produce. So, I've been touting that by January, February, we should have a vaccine, and in 18 to 24 months after the vaccine, most of us should be vaccinated. Whoa, was I wrong? That was the science and data that was given to me that I read, which was hopeful science and data. It's not realistic. We've never produced a vaccine faster than 4 years, ever.
So when we look at this, everybody to remember, we want you to think about, okay, if your governors are going to open up places, if your mayors are going to say go back to, and yes, we want people to work, but remember, it's ultimately your choice. You don't have to go to those stores. You don't have to go to that barber.
Nope.
It is not required that you do that. And if we want to save as many people as possible, we need to make those tough choices when things start to open up.
Well, Marie, statistically, only 12% of the nation wants us to reopen. 12%. It's a minuscule amount, and most of those.
And that 12% is the top 10%, and it's all related to mercenary capitalism, power, and greed, which the mamas talk about so many times.
A lot of those.
So before you go out, guys, before you go out to the casino, before you go to the movies, which happens in Tennessee on Monday. On Friday, you can go to the bowling alley and hang out and get a tattoo.
Because
by the way, Governor Huckabee, is going to be coming down to. He was pretty tweety about going down to Georgia tattoo.
I think Donald Trump should go and open Georgia.
Lick a handrail.
Yeah. I'm just thinking, would you want to put your 3 fingers into a ball that somebody else has had their fingers in to play bowling? I wouldn't. Ugh. I didn't like doing it before COVID-19. Every time I went bowling, I wanted to wear rubber gloves. I don't know what they did, what they touched before they put their hand in that ball, and I didn't want any part of it. So.
But guys, before you make that choice, before you go out and say, I'm going to do this, think about your safety, think about your health.
Think about your family.
Think about those people who you're going to infect. Remember, those protesters that you see, A lot, no, they're
Financed,
manipulated. Many of them are manipulated.
manipulated, and there's not as many numbers as you think because their protocol that they put out on their website, on their Facebook page, on all their social media tells them to wear masks and to stand 6 feet apart, not for personal safety, but to make their numbers look bigger. Most of them have been just a couple hundred people. They tried to have a rally in Ottawa, Illinois, and no one showed up, and yet they had the park all blocked off.
There was more press than there
I
was.
know, and nobody came, and the press was so disappointed. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
So I just want you people to know, you don't have to buy into it. They're being manipulated by people with money.
And before you know that, like M. Bundy's buddies, this family, remember, you don't have to die so that someone else can make a profit.
Right. That's all
And
they
that doesn't mean
want.
you don't want to support those small businesses who are desperately hurting, and we know you need to go back to work, and we know we need to all patronize you.
Yes.
But it's not safe yet.
No. For those of you that are able to collect unemployment, collect your unemployment. Be safe so that you can live
And for those
to work another day.
And for those leaders, those mayors, those governors, the President of the United States, stop being a jackass. Put people's
First.
needs before your own selfish desires, power, and greed. Because guess what? Republicans, I don't know if they thought this far through, if the governor of Georgia thought, well, if you kill off how many people, those are less people to vote for you.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd think that they would think of it just in terms of the voters, because those that are more likely to go out
Right.
are people who are watching Fox News, that are inundated with it every day. And I told you, Murray, I expect Fox News to have a class action lawsuit for their promoting fake cures and for promoting people to go out and reopen the country, because it's so irresponsible. They have certainly crossed the line this time. They cross lines every day, but this time they're putting people's lives in danger. They're going to kill some people. They are going to kill some people.
So mamas out there, non-mamas, Heartland, don't die for some jackass to add more money to his wallet. Be smart, be safe. Remember, like, subscribe, share. We're going to be doing some really cool stuff coming up here with Twitch and streaming. So please tune in, like, subscribe, and share. And we will talk to you.
Heartland Mamas.
soon.
Catch more at Heartland Mamas, MAMAS.com. You can see all of our previous 90 episodes. And we'll see you soon.
Woo.
Yeah. Take care now. Bye-bye.
Bye. Hi, how do you think it went?
Hey, hang on. I'm still not out.
Oh, sorry.